Welcome to Nonstop. It's the official and season show of Kirk, Herbstreit, and Joey Galloway. Your first stop for all things football, college and pro, every Monday.
We are excited to be with you on this October 27th. We're really getting the heat of things with college football. So much going down on and off the field. We recognize that again, Joey. Last night with Brian Kelly getting let go by LSU, James Franklin's been already let go, Brent Key at Virginia Tech. We saw Billy Napier. I mean, the names continue to fall. And talking to Pete Thamel and others, it sounds like, what is there, 65 or 66 Power 4 schools, if you include Notre Dame. And they're saying that this could get up to low 20s. You're talking about almost a third. Once one coach leaves one school to go take another job, I mean, you're going to look at maybe 20 to 25 jobs open up in the Power 4 alone. So we'll get into that. We're going to Marcel Reed, the Texas A&M quarterback who had a big night down in Death Valley, and a big part of the reason that LSU lost that game and Brian Kelly lost his job. We'll hop on with him actually early in about 8 or 9 minutes. He's going to join us. But Joey, there's a lot to talk about, man. We don't have. This is like one of those days you wish you had 3 or 4 hours, but we'll try to get it all in as quickly as we can.
It's weird to me, and I keep trying to find an answer. And I asked Ryan Day about this last week, and he didn't have an answer for us. What is the rush nowadays? You know what I mean? It's
theoretically to get in the front of the line.
Yeah, but in the front of the line to what? Like, who are you rushing to get nowadays? Like, everyone else is coaching. You know what I mean? Like guys like Matt Campbell's name comes up, Matt Rule's name comes up. They're coaching right now. It's not like you can interview them. Obviously, you can talk to their agent, but you can do that anyhow. You know what I mean? Like, while you had James Franklin, while you had Brian Kelly, you could still be talking to these people's agents. This feels weird to me now, and that I'm wondering if later on we're going to find out why everyone is jumping in right now. We got to do it in week 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, it's a great question, and I think for people that don't know this, you have agents that obviously do a lot of the legwork to try to get their guy an opportunity.
Yeah.
With that being said, Lane Kiffin right now, for example, every job that's open, his name right away is Lane Kiffin going to Florida.
Yes.
Now is he going to LSU? Lane Kiffin's he's coaching a team that's probably going to go to the playoff.
Yeah.
So he is now. Jimmy Sexton might be doing some stuff, but Lane Kiffin, I mean, he's doing whatever his Monday routine is right now, right? And to your point, whether LSU or Florida fired their guys right now or they waited to the end of the year, I just don't know to what exactly advantage that gives you. But maybe we don't understand the dynamics of what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe there is a huge advantage.
When you find it out, find out, let us know.
I will.
It is.
I'm going to get to the bottom of that.
I appreciate that.
What stood out to you on this weekend? I mean, there's a lot of games to get into, which we can do, but Vanderbilt was amazing for College Game Day. What an opportunity that they showcased their program. Clark Lee is such a good coach. And they got a challenge from Missouri. Drink has a team, and I think we knew that was going to be a close game, but it was kind of just a physical brawl. Depending on how your point of view is, you could say it was a boring game. I like those kind of games in this era of shootouts because it was good defense. I mean, those two teams play really good defense. They both want to run the football. But I walked out of there pretty impressed with both teams. But Vandy, to their credit, they go to Austin this weekend, and it's no longer, well, can they keep it going against Texas now? I haven't looked. I'm guessing they're favored. I mean, it's a different day and age of college football, and I was happy for Vandy to capitalize on the exposure and get a big win and keep this dream alive.
Yeah, Vandy's been fun, and we talked about that before. This feels different. This feels like they're a really good football team that is winning some games, as opposed to they can sneak up and get you if you're not paying attention. And so when you look at that game, it's 3-3, and Coach Drink decides to go for it on a 4th down inside the 5. And in today's world, Herbie, we do a lot of analytics. I know guys like you who are old school football guys. Are you kicking the field? Like I've been around you a long time. I used to play video games, and you would scratch and claw. And if you had a
How many
chance,
wins did I get in 25 years?
probably 2. But the 2 wins you did
2?
get,
2?
yeah. I was being kind. I can't really
You know
remember
what
the
sucked
second one,
about playing you
but I was.
in video games?
Yeah.
You know what I really hated, and you knew that I hated? Your real team, that if you had to bet $1 million to beat somebody around the country and use them, you'd use Florida, or
Yeah.
you'd use like Florida State or whoever
Florida
it was.
State, Charlie Ward, pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. It was like you'd play me with Bowling Green.
Yeah, well, I would like to get Grambling a few wins. You know what I mean? I like the HBCU look, so I would bring Grambling when you would be, you'd come in there and let's go Oklahoma, let's go.
I'd have a
you know.
I'd have a running team with a
Yes,
running quarterback. And I'd try to
absolutely.
eat 80% of the clock up, keep your offense on the
Yeah,
sideline.
yeah. And so I'm going to give you 2
I hated
wins.
that. And then you'd win with Bowling Green or Grambling.
Yeah,
All right, so
absolutely
go
right.
ahead.
So
Your point about
the Kirk Herbstreit that I've known forever is running the field goal team out there. Let's try to take a 6-3 lead.
yeah,
And if we can do that, then we're feeling good about ourselves. In today's world, it is, hey, let's look at the book. The book says we got a 68% chance of winning if we go for it, and only a 62% chance if we kick it. What are you doing in that? Are you taking the field goal, or are you going for it on 4th? Now, mind you, let's not talk about the fact that Prebula gets hurt, because I mean, you can't.
No.
You know what I mean?
I think you got to take the points in that kind of game.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
do
it
you
was a
think?
tough one. I was running. I was very surprised in a game like that. That's 3-3, and it's a defensive battle.
Yeah, field position.
Field position.
Yeah.
Get your 3, but they didn't, and it turned out to be a great game. And it's interesting to me, and as you go through this, and we always hear you guys just love the SEC. The SEC is getting too much respect. Which game in which game in the Big Ten, the ACC, this past weekend did you really sink your teeth into? It's like, man, I got to get in front of my TV and catch this game. Ohio State was off.
Yeah, from a Big Ten standpoint.
Yeah, which one? Which one?
I guess. I mean, the late game with. I mean, I wanted to see if UCLA could do anything against Indiana
on pure interest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once Indiana got the interception on the first drive, you're like, all right, that one's.
I see what you're doing here. You're saying there's no compelling game. Michigan State, maybe because it's a rivalry.
Yes. When you look at the landscape, instead of saying like you guys just love the SEC,
like what game are you like, hey, hurry up, sit down, game's about to start. We
Big Ten fans, ACC fans, which game that was happening did you say this is
so you're not being nice?
I'm just asking. I'm just wondering.
And you and I are Big Ten guys.
Big Ten guys.
Nothing would make us happier than to have a game on the Big Ten every week, 2 or 3 or 4 of them every week
that you want to sit down and watch.
Boom, boom, boom. That's what you want.
Yes.
And probably because we're sickos and like we can watch these games. It really doesn't take a lot for us to get excited to be able to flip one of them on.
Not much at all.
But there aren't a whole lot of compelling storylines last Saturday, other than, like I said, the rivalry of Michigan State. Can UCLA's offense keep scoring against Indiana? Clearly, no. That was over fast. And then the SEC, you got Texas A&M, who's 3rd in the country, going to Baton Rouge, who was in must-win mode at 5-2. You'd think, I got to see what's going on with LSU at home at night.
Absolutely.
Can Alabama, after 4 straight weeks against ranked opponents, with LSU, which is a rivalry game looming after a bye week, can they go into Columbia, South Carolina, and not overlook a Gamecocks team that wants to save their season by trying to knock off Alabama? There's 2. Ole Miss and Oklahoma, that was basically an elimination game.
Yes.
That was it right out of the gate at noon, right after game day. Vanderbilt and Missouri followed that one. That's compelling for obvious reasons.
Absolutely.
And you had Texas, who got down big on the road going into it. You knew it'd be tough to go into the Cowbells with Texas on the road, not being the same team. And to their credit, they saved their season. They got out of there with a win. So
yeah,
there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
See what you know what I mean? Like, and that has nothing to do with our respect or our like for. It is just, if you like college football, these are the stories that you're following, and there aren't many. There aren't. I mean, for crying out loud, Ohio State, Penn State was one of the big ones coming into the season. Can't wait to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
no one cared.
You'll watch, but it's not like you're thinking.
You'll watch that one because it's Ohio State, Penn State, and
absolutely right. Not the same feel.
But take yourself out of being in the Big Ten region or a Big Ten fan. You might tune into that just to see Penn State fired their coach. Oh, they're playing the Buckeyes. Never know. You never know. And then, boom. Let's go to our hotline and bring in Marcel Reed, who obviously had a great weekend, and his football team continues to, in my opinion, probably be as complete as any team in college football, with offense, defense, special teams. Marcel, how you doing, man? How you feeling after a great win?
I feel good. Feels good to be 8-0.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Your team, you grew up here in Death Valley. You know about LSU. You heard it on Saturday about not many teams go in there. What was that like? The week, the build up. You knew what you're going. All the SEC stadiums are probably tough for you guys, but this one, especially with the tradition. What was the message for you guys this week going into that environment and just being you and getting out of there with a win?
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of been the same kind of message, that not a lot of people in this country respect us, and we understood that we were 0-6 in Death Valley since joining the SEC, and the course of this program is starting to turn for us, and this was another marking point for that. So we just wanted everything. It was another game, another SEC game, and prepared the same exact way we have been all season. But yeah, it obviously meant a little more to us, knowing the team and the rivalry and the history behind everything. But yeah, the team was prepared to go in and get the W.
Marcel, outside of, obviously you're having a tremendous season, and it's fun to watch, to be honest with you. Is there something different about this year's team that doesn't, it just feels different when we watch you guys? In the past couple years, we come into the season, it's like, hey, A&M should be pretty good, and then you guys will trip up, and it's like, maybe not, maybe next year. This feels different watching you guys play. What's the difference between this year's team, and you've been here for a couple years now, last year before those teams?
Yeah, this team is just, we understand the difference between the pain we felt last year and what we don't want to feel this year. And Coach Troop always says something like, what's worse, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret? And we want the pain of discipline to be the one that hurts us the most, because we don't want to regret anything when we leave any field. And we just understand that walking off that field in Las Vegas last year is not the way we want to feel this year. So we came with a different edge, and we worked hard. We did a lot of things that people don't see, but it's paying off right now, and we're going to continue to do it.
Marcel, I obviously know you since you were in elementary school. You've had that same, probably because your dad gets a lot of credit, but I think your mom as well, when it comes to your approach and you being the quarterback of this team. What Joey just talked about, maybe some ups and downs. I was talking about it during the broadcast. You guys were up big. The stadium's empty, and you guys are on the sideline. You're making adjustments. There was no like trash talking. There was no like bye everybody. Like you guys were like locked in on the process or whatever it is. The defense is out there on the field. They're flying to the ball, hitting people. Like that's, I think, when Joey's talking about it, just feels different. I think it's Mike Elko, right? Second year of his culture. Maybe talk about your approach. Even talking in this interview, you're a very focused young man. He's a very focused coach, and just how that all kind of translates into a team with a vision of not getting caught up in the outside noise, just doing your jobs. I mean, you guys look like you're on a mission right now.
Yeah, the word of the year has been finished for us. So we're not going to stop working until that fourth quarter is over until the game's over. So, I mean, doesn't matter how much we're up, we're going to try to, put our foot on their necks and keep it there until the game's finished and we can get on the road. But we're just going out there and trying to play, championship execution football every week. And it doesn't matter what the clock says. We're going to keep going until the end of it.
Marcel, so when you got there, Jimbo Fisher was your first coach. Am I right? He recruited you to Texas A&M, and then Jimbo gets fired. As we get in this era now, that it seems like every morning when we wake up, there's a coach getting fired. And so you've been through this already at A&M, and you decided to stay. What made you stay at A&M? And then what advice would you give to these players that have to go through this? Like, what steps should they be thinking about as they transition from one coach to the next, and possibly even the opportunity to leave in that school? What made you stay?
Just worrying about my development, and wasn't too certain on who was coming in right after Jimbo got fired. But once I figured out Coach Oko and Coach Klein were coming in, I felt like I was in a good spot. I was still a freshman at the time, and I understood that I had time to work and grow. So I gave those two a chance and just let things work out. And you see how they are now. But for the kids who are in this type of situation, I think it's like the same message that I had. I mean, just work on, like, try to wait for yourself to be developed. It's not, you don't have to rush the process to try to get to where you want to go. If you sit behind and wait and watch the players and just kind of grow in your craft, whether you're on scout team or whether you're going with the ones or twos, it doesn't matter. Just go hard every day and wait your turn. Your name's going to be called and you better be ready.
It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Where are you from?
Right here, baby.
Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah. Where do we get?
Look at this. Look at this.
If I get to draft a team, like I didn't, and look, I've seen you play, an amazing athlete. Me as a receiver, you like to run the ball. I'm not that happy about that. Throw me the daggone ball. But what I will say, that last answer, you don't get that anymore. You don't get, hey, wait your turn, develop yourself. If I was drafting a football team for college right now, you're my number one pick. I'll take you number one, but you got to come in with that message on your T-shirt. You got to write that message.
All right, I got you. I'm gonna get it written. You want to print it out? I'll give you one too.
I love it. That's the way. That's who he's not saying this for the interview. He took over Zach's team as a freshman in high school, and just played the same way.
Wow,
didn't blink. That's just who he is. You talk about Craver and Concepcion coming over, because I think in the past you guys were always a team that would try to establish the line of scrimmage. Those two guys, not just their abilities, Marcel, but they seem to have kind of that dog mentality out there where they block, they catch the ball, they're looking to go after the catch. Just the total package there, not just your abilities, but I think the guys around you.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioning them turning and blocking after the catch and being so quick to do that, it's a credit to our offense and what we have, going for us. We have a thing called Men of the 10, and Men of the 10 is, the 10 people who don't have the football in their hands and what they're doing while the play's still going on. So we actually, give out awards for that every week, and we make sure it's known that we're going to be the hardest working team, and we're going to play to the end of the whistle every single play. So if you don't have the ball in your hands, you're trying to find somebody to block, you're running down the field. We have something called an effort, to where you're, giving your max effort to try to block somebody. And it's the men means max effort needed every single play. So credit to the offense in general for that. But yeah, those two guys come in with tremendous energy every day. Casey's a hard worker. I told a story where I wasn't even in town yet, coming back from break over the off season, and he's texted me already trying to get throws in. And I told him, I got you when I get back to College Station. But that was right when he got here. So he was ready to work immediately. Mario Craver's been amazing for us. I mean, he's only a sophomore, and he's one of, I feel like, our biggest leaders on offense. He's always trying to get the team going. And, even on his non-best days, he's still trying to encourage everybody and let them know that, we still can continue to improve no matter how bad we're doing in practice or what the score is in the game if we're down. So, things like that is really huge for our offense and our team in general. But, those guys bring a different fire to the team.
Marcel, have you ever heard of strength of record? You know what that means, strength of record? That's one of the things. You have any idea what that is?
Not too much. I mean, I've heard it, but I don't really
Let
much
me
to it.
let me tell you what it is, and then I got a question for you. So, strength of record is what would an average top 25 team do versus the schedule that you've played, and to get to the record that you are. You know what I mean? So, if they look at your schedule, your record, 8-0, what would an average top 25 team do against that schedule? Trivia question. Who do you think is ranked number 1 right now in strength of record?
I think it's us.
It's pretty good.
So he does know a little bit about it.
I don't know too much, but I've seen it.
I was just checking to see if you pay attention to that stuff at all. As us experts over here, as we look at the rest of your schedule, and we see you got to take a tough trip to Missouri, you got South Carolina, Samford, I don't actually know where that's located, and then you got to go to Texas.
I got in trouble for that
in a huge rivalry game. Us experts look at that schedule and say, hey, you can pencil A&M into the SEC championship game because that is a very doable schedule. Have you looked down the road to see what you got left and said, hey, there's only 2 teams left in the SEC that don't have a loss in conference? Have you looked at the rest of this and said, I agree with the experts?
I guess so. I mean, I believe we can beat any team that we're facing. So, I don't really look too deep into it. I'm trying to focus on the team that's next week, and that's Missouri.
There's the answer.
But obviously we have 4 more teams ahead of us. So, get Missouri done, then we can focus on the next one.
Marcel, that's an interesting question that you asked because it's real. I mean, you guys are 18 to 22-year-olds. You all have phones. You got a professional approach, but all it takes is guys that take their eye off the ball. And I think Coach Saban used to call it rat poison because all the compliments sometimes are worse than no one respecting you. No one respecting you is easier to get motivated collectively. You start getting a lot of pats on the back, as you know, that's dangerous. I'm just wondering what you can do other than stay in the process. What do you do as a leader of this team where you can have so much in front of you? How do you block all that noise and just even the good noise? How do you block that out? Just, I guess, go to work?
Yeah, I mean, we got to come to work with the same energy every day. Obviously, everybody on the team sees it, but you got to understand, none of this stuff matters until it matters at the end of the season. So we still got work to do, and the job's not finished.
Yeah, we know you got Joey, you got one last one. He's got to roll to a meeting.
Yeah, I'm good, man. It was great talking to you. We appreciate it. And hopefully we get you back on after you guys run through the rest of the schedule and get these next 4 wins.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Yep. Tell your parents, hey, stay healthy, man. We'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Yes, sir.
See you, buddy. Yep. Well, that's about as classy as you get, boys.
I tried to trip him up a little with the look ahead, and you could see the laugh because it was kind of like, I know I'm not supposed to look ahead, but you're absolutely right. You can't not look ahead.
Well, if you do, honestly, Missouri, they just lost their starting quarterback. The backup did a nice job, but
he actually did.
That game's got a different feel, even though it's on the road. But when you are the hunted, every game's a challenge in November.
Absolutely.
Because you go into that game, you're gonna win. Their quarterback's down. That's hard. But
they look different though. They do. And honestly, now that I've spoken to Marcel Reed, I actually feel better about their team. Because when in the world have you heard a quarterback in today's culture say, wait your turn, develop yourself for a year or so? Like nowadays, the freshmen walk in with the clock, the stopwatch has started. As soon as they walked in the door, start the watch. If I'm not on this field in a year, then I gotta go. So yeah, that's good. I enjoyed talking to Marcel.
Yeah, and like I said, he's gone to elementary school with my kids all the way back, and we do pickup line, and he was always really tall as a youngster, but probably as good a baseball player as he was football, probably a better basketball player as he is football. Everyone thought he'd go hoops, going through elementary, middle school, and then in high school he started to become, like I said, he was starting quarterback as a freshman at a really respected program, and he played the same way. ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, never high, never low, even keeled through the good wins, through the tough losses. Same guy. Dad is a great coach. Mom is all about it, way involved in his life. This comes from really good people who have invested a lot of their time into him. And I think that's what you get is a super humble, super motivated, and a guy that's got great perspective, even though he's in his first year, really, truly as a starter. And by the way, Colin Klein, you remember Colin Klein as a player at Kansas State?
Yep.
Well, I think in this coaching carousel, I think he's going to end up being a head coach soon. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but he needs to be talked about with the plan he's put together around Marcel Reed. They had an entire offseason to build it around his skill set. Last year, he kind of came in middle of the year. Whole offseason, you bring in those transfer receivers. You load up against their powerful running game because they got all 5 linemen back from last year. So you got continuity there. They can stone you at the line of scrimmage. So now you're defending them. Okay, let's get our safeties down. Really? Now I got Marcel Reed. You play man coverage. First touchdown against LSU. You don't have spy on him. Gone. He's taking it to the house. Or get the ball to these receivers that can do so much. This first touchdown, they got their backs turned to him. Harold Perkins loses him in the spy. There's no one left. Everyone's got their back to the quarterback. You don't want to do that against this guy. And, okay, now you're like, we can't let Marcel Reed and these receivers beat us. Let's drop back. Now you got to deal with their running game. So I think that's what great teams do at any level, but that's what Colin Klein has this year is you want to get into a ground and pound, we'll do that. You want to load up against that, we'll throw it. So they're going to be a tough out, not just in the SEC. They're going to be a tough out all year.
We've had this conversation for weeks now. Who do you feel good about getting to the championship game in the SEC? Well, it's starting to clarify itself.
It feels like A&M and who they're going to play.
Clear up. It's A&M and
Bama.
Listen, a lot of people were nervous about the Bama win. They won in a game where they did not have their fastball.
No.
On the road, and you find a way to win that game. I have as much respect for Bama to do that in the 5th week after going 4 ranked opponents with Tennessee the week before being maybe their best performance. To go on the road, get that win, have much respect for that win as I do any of their other wins this season.
Yeah.
And I think that is a tremendous growing and learning experience for a team that in those situations, you've gone 4 straight weeks and you come out. And again, you get into that situation where it's like, oh, now we got South Carolina. You know what I mean? Like, whew, finally we get to take a break. We get South Carolina. And they go in without their fastball. Ty Simpson didn't play great. But the interesting thing, if you looked later in that game, the touchdown, the 2-point conversion, really good play calls with really, I call them easy throws because I don't play quarterback. But anytime you throw the ball to the flat, anytime you throw like a ball that's like 2 yards out to the flat, to me seems like that's a much easier throw than trying to go down the field with it. They had some great play calls. And I think those play calls were like, okay, Ty Simpson not having the best game in the world. Let's do these types of plays. And it worked out and they got a win. That was impressive to me to do that on the road, to pull that off. It is feeling to me now like it's going to be A&M and Alabama in the SEC championship game. That's just the way it feels.
It does. And I think the one thing fans maybe underestimate, and maybe we do as well at times, although we did predict that Bama after 4 straight really, really hyped up games. This was a tricky game because it was on the road and it was a game where South Carolina could have turned their season around by being
They just lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah. This is their opportunity to kind of put all the chips in. So you knew Bama 5 weeks in a row. That's hard. So I think it's hard to bring your fastball. It's hard to bring your A+ game. So you knew they were going to be in a war, and they passed the test. They found a way to win. And now you get a bye week before they deal with LSU, who's reeling, obviously. I just want to say to Marcel and to others, other players, I've never seen so many comments. We can see your comments, folks that are on here listening. And by the way, just want to give everybody a shout out who is subbed and joined the Field Pass. Really appreciate, Joey and I appreciate your support. Field Pass is our membership program here on YouTube. It gives you access to custom Peter emojis and helps you stand out in the chat. So if you're watching on X or Instagram, you can hop over to YouTube if you'd like and join in. But what really stood out is you and I are sitting there going, did he really just answer that question like that? And almost every question he answered, every person, there's Ohio State fans, Vanderbilt fans, Florida fans, LSU fans, all over the board. They're like, I liked Marcel Reed, watching him play. He's got game. But after watching this interview, he's become my favorite player in the country. And it's one after another, after another, after another. Ohio State fans, I don't know a lot about Marcel Reed. Holy cow, what an impressive young man. It just
I picked him number one. So
yeah, I know, number one pick. But I'm just
he's
saying,
my number one draft pick.
It's unanimous that it's amazing how this new world of having an agent or being in a hurry to get to the pot of gold or whatever, how it allows guys to kind of get off track and lose what really matters in your development. He was very like, hey, if you're sitting right now, to guys out there that are waiting their turn, it's okay. Go do the scout team. Work as hard as you can. Your number's going to be called one day. And when it does, you got to be ready. Like no one talks like that anymore.
That is family. That is upbringing. You know what I mean? Like that is we're here for a purpose, and our purpose is bigger than just football. Because the other part of that, and we don't normally talk about with these young guys, is hey, football ends for all of us. No matter how long you go, football ends. And then what?
And
do
how
you do
many years
after
did
that?
you play in the league?
I went 16 in the league, and and football ends.
And you're saying that, dude. You're saying football ends. You played 16 years.
Yeah, and you get a
First-round
chance
draft
to
pick.
Huh?
First-round draft pick.
Yeah.
The dream that they all want. You lived it. And
That's all right.
If there's anybody they should listen to, it's a guy like this.
And it's like when you see guys like him, you're like, that kid's gonna be successful at everything.
Whatever he does.
When he's done, he's going to be. That was fun. I didn't know anything about him. You know what I mean? I knew he's a quarterback, I knew he's a great athlete, seen him run. Now I'm a fan. I'm like, man, I hope this guy does well.
How about his game, though? I mean, he is. It's it's funny how the season evolves. John Mateer was kind of that guy in September, had an injury, things got a little bit off course. Oklahoma now, man, you start to look at their schedule after a loss against Ole Miss. Ole Miss, to their credit, Lane Kiffin and the Rebs go into Norman. Both teams have to win that game. And Trinidad Chambliss making plays. Their defense made some clutch plays to be able to kind of, you hold Oklahoma to 26. That's a pretty good effort by their defense compared to how they've been playing. But Ole Miss, and it's talking about noise for Marcel Reed. How about the noise that Ole Miss's head coach Lane Kiffin's going to be? He's going to Florida. Oh, LSU's open. He's going to LSU. It's like, this guy's got a team they may not get to Atlanta. They might need some help, but guess what? They're going to the playoff. I mean, this is a playoff team. They have South Carolina, they have Citadel, they have Florida, and they go to Starkville, which is probably their toughest game, in a rivalry game in the Egg Bowl. But if they can stay grounded and stay focused, this team is 11-1, and their coach is going to LSU or he's going to Florida. Hell, why not win the national title? I mean, they got a team.
That's the unfortunate part of where we are, is the focus of Lane Kiffin and what what's talked about. And this isn't, I'm not saying this is inside the locker room, but I am saying, and you mentioned earlier, these kids have phones, they have access to social media. They see it. Anytime a job's open, you hear Lane Kiffin, then he has to answer questions about said job. I thought Steve Sarkisian's answer after the game was like, it just lets you know how these guys feel about this stuff that happens, where it's like, I'm trying to coach, I'm trying to win this year at my current job, and all it takes is one person to report Tyre Jake, your sons, could report that Ole Miss is or that Lane Kiffin is going to Florida, and it becomes a story now. And then everybody's talking about it, and everyone goes and asks questions. Man, these are tough situations, and sometimes you lose focus of just how good Ole Miss has been. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they lose a tough one at Georgia, then they go and win a tough one at Oklahoma, and you just lose focus of that sometime. And if you look at the rest of their schedule, as you mentioned, man, Ole Miss looks like
that was it. That 60 minutes in Norman, their season was going one way or the other for both teams. That's why that game was so pivotal. You go back to your comment about, tell me the game in the Big Ten that I can't wait to watch. We went down the line. We're like, Michigan State, Michigan rivalry. Then you go to the SEC and you're like, oh my God. I mean, it's October, and Oklahoma or Ole Miss, neither team can lose this game. Neither if you're going to stay in it. I mean, that's a huge game, and Ole Miss got it done on the road.
And the other side of that, and we talked about this early in the season, that the Oklahoma schedule.
You don't want to look at that schedule.
Was going to get rough, and it is what it is in the SEC. You're going to find out. You know what I mean? We had material on early, and then unfortunately had the thumb situation go on, and but
been different since.
They've been different since that happened, and then you look at Texas, sir. What happens at Texas if Arch Manning? I hope he's healthy. I hope he's okay. What happens if the backup comes in and plays well?
Every time he's gotten a throw here or there, he's played pretty well.
What do you want to do? What are you going to do?
Why are you asking? Why are you asking me, dude? I don't know.
Just act like you didn't see it. Like, I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't know enough about the young man.
Don't know enough about him.
I don't. You got to keep plugging away. What are you doing?
Oh,
I know. I mean, look at that throw right there. I can't believe they came back to win this game.
Hey, listen now. There's some things you don't want. Remember earlier on we talked to Lane. It's like, hey, what happens if Chambliss just keeps playing well? And then the other, and Lane's like, I'll make that decision when it happens.
Yeah.
Well,
it's happened.
It happened.
By the way, look at this. By the way, you love this. Look at this return right here.
Oh,
2 minutes to go in the game.
Look
at this. He did this in the OU game.
And every time it's like, that guy got him. I'm telling you, you want to talk about a game changer? When you score like on special teams, well, it changes an entire game. It's just different. And it was like, okay, this is Texas. This is going to be their game. When Niblett took that back, made a couple guys miss, it was like, this is going to be their football game. And so when you look at Texas and you look at their situation, they're in the thick of it also.
Keep talking about teams saving their seasons. Texas saved their season.
You're absolutely right. And so they're still right in the thick of this. They didn't have
Michael Taft, their leader on the defense on the back end. Again, another tricky game where no matter what you say, guys, the Cowbells, Mississippi State can score. We got to be ready. And you think about, the gauntlet that they've already been through and some of the games that they've had to play. They see Mississippi State and, they're ready, they're focused, but it's hard to get your team every week to think. And then next thing you know, you're in the middle of it. You're down, whatever it was. They were down. There's no chance they're coming back to win that game.
And then your quarterback gets hurt, and now you find a way to win. You have Vandy, and then you go to Georgia.
Yeah.
And again, this is what I say. Every single weekend, my Saturday, I'm in studio the entire day, 12, 13 hours. My Saturday depends on where's my good games to watch. What game can I watch to keep?
And you don't care. You don't give a crap if it's the MAC or the
No,
SEC or you
no,
just want to be
not at all.
entertained.
I need something to
Yeah,
sink
man.
my teeth into. And that's all I'm looking for. And again, this weekend you have now it's the Texas Vandy to look forward to. What's going to happen here? Is Arch Manning going to be healthy? If Arch Manning is not healthy, that becomes another very interesting. I mean, you didn't want to answer my question, but that becomes a very interesting storyline at what happens if Arch doesn't play and they end up going on the road and beating Vandy. Then we got a whole nother conversation. It's just interesting stuff.
Yeah. And I think one last team I want to hit on here is Georgia Tech. I know you laughed at me last week. I had them up in the top 5. Much like Marcel Reed, their quarterback, Haynes King.
Amazing.
That guy, let's just knock on wood because of the style of play. This kid stays healthy. Yep. I think Brent Key got this team to believe last year with some really good wins and a tough game against Georgia. A lot of those guys are back this year. They're staying healthy, and they are going out scoring on people every single week. They don't get the same challenge. Let's be honest. They don't get the same competition that you see week in and week out, but all they can do is play their schedule. And this quarterback, when you're right at that spot, you got hope and you got a chance. And Haynes King gives Georgia Tech a chance. And they got NC State on the road. I think Boston College, Pitt. It's not an easy game.
Pitt's
Pitt at home,
interesting.
and then they got Georgia at home. So they got 4 games to go. I still got them up in the top 5 in the country. And we'll see. We'll see if Haynes King goes down, they're done. As far as
absolutely
the
right
big picture, this kid means everything.
That's the part that makes you nervous about teams like that. And Pitt is a tricky team now.
It is.
Heinzel is playing amazing football.
Incredible.
And so because Heinzel is playing so well, quarterback, he's been fun to watch. You look at Georgia Tech, and I have a ton of respect for Georgia Tech. I love what they've done. Can Haynes King stay healthy? I mean, he is a touchdown machine and is going to give you 3 passing, 2 rushing every single weekend. Every single weekend in studio, we have a conversation. Are we giving Haynes King a helmet sticker for what he did? Because every single weekend he's going to do, it's like Blake Horvath at Navy. It's going to be like 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. It's perfect. So we have to say, look, Haynes King already has 8 helmet stickers.
We can't do him every week.
We can't do him every week. But if he stays healthy, Georgia Tech is going to be a tough out for anybody that gets to see them in the playoff.
You see, Terry says, can Georgia Tech beat Georgia? Shit, they gave him everything last year. What was that, 7 or 8 overtimes? I mean, and it was a shock that Georgia escaped with a win. That creates a ton of confidence when you're Brent Key, and he's been an assistant at Alabama. He knows the Saban blueprint, and you're trying to get your guys to believe. You're trying to get your guys to see a vision of what you're capable of doing. And then you go to the middle of the ring with your rival, Georgia, who everyone's like, you got no shot against Georgia, and you outplay them. I think that, even though it was you're not into moral victories, but I think as a player, you're like, oh my God, we should have beat Georgia. That's Georgia. We can do this against anybody we play. So I think it was a springboard into this year, a belief. And Brent Key, much like we're talking about Mike Elko, these guys that create a different culture, a different mindset. I think that's unfolding right now in Atlanta with Tech.
If Georgia Tech and Virginia, who are undefeated in ACC play, say they continue, say they get there, and they play undefeated. Even holy crap, Virginia almost lost to North Carolina this past weekend. It was like this has the potential to completely kick the ACC in the nuts.
Yeah.
If they both get there undefeated in ACC, they play one another for the ACC championship game. As we talk about, it's like there's 12 cars to pass out, and how many can each conference get? The ACC's chances become much greater if these 2 teams continue to win out. They get to the ACC championship game play. It's going to be interesting, and this is what we want to deal with on Selection Sunday It's what we want the
Oh,
committee
yeah.
have to deal with is these situations right here.
Jake and Ty, pop up the top 25 real quick, because Joey and the boys, not this Tuesday. I think you guys have like a walkthrough show this week, right? Kind of hypothetical stuff.
Tomorrow we do
So
another
tomorrow night?
walkthrough. November 4th.
November 4th is when we start to unveil these rankings and get a feel for what really matters. Not the AP poll, it's the committee and what they're looking at. And there's usually some surprises with those first rankings that sometimes are a little bit different. If you are a fan of the ACC team, or you're a fan of a Big 12 team, or even that fourth team from the Big 10, one thing all of you have in common is you want Notre Dame to lose one more game. If you're rooting for anything, to get that fourth team, maybe it's Michigan or Iowa, who knows, or to get a second team in the ACC or a second team in the Big 12, it feels like, to make sure that's crystal clear, Notre Dame needs a loss. I don't know if that's going to happen if they don't lose. And if we are going to say the Big 10 has 3 for sure, right?
Yes.
With Indiana and Oregon and Ohio State, they're trying to. We'll see how things shake down the rest of the year in that conference. But you're trying to kind of look. Okay, the ACC. We talked about Georgia Tech, Virginia, Miami. They got teams that are more incapable as we sit here at the end of October. You got BYU, Cincinnati, by the way, has become an amazing story. Scott Satterfield was probably facing a potential firing. He was on the hot seat when he approached this season, but they went through the portal. Their quarterback, Brendan Sorsby's playing well. They're 7-1. And they go to Utah this week, where College Game Day will be. But that conference has 4 or 5 teams right now that are still kind of hanging around with high hopes. We talked about the Big 10, and then you got the SEC, where you imagine just picking 4 teams in that conference right now. Eventually they'll beat each other up enough.
Yeah, eventually that'll clear itself
but
up.
You feel pretty safe in saying that the SEC is probably going to get 4.
I would say 4. I don't feel safe in saying that the Big 10 gets 4.
Right.
I feel safe in saying the Big 10 gets 3.
For sure.
For sure.
But if you add them all up, if the SEC gets 4, and you get a group of 5, if Notre Dame were to win out, that's 6. If the ACC gets 1, and the Big 10 gets, we said 3, that gets you to 10, right? Now you're looking at
ACC is getting more than 1.
Okay.
And then you got the Big 12 will get 1.
The ACC and the Big 12 can't get more than 1 if the SEC gets 4 and the Big 10 gets 3. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like you've got to hope that if you're in one of those other conferences, you got to hope for a Notre Dame loss.
See, this is when it gets fun. When your fan base has to root against Notre Dame, or your fan base has to root against a Miami. Hopefully they get that kind of thing. It's fun. And then you got the group of 5. How about Memphis?
Oh my gosh.
So when Memphis goes, they're undefeated. They lose to UAB. It's like, then they play ranked USF, knock them off. They get back in the driver's seat for the group of 5. The best part is, for the American Conference, they got Navy that's still undefeated. They got Tulane still undefeated. Memphis plays them both.
Yeah.
At home.
Yep.
So Memphis goes from holy crap.
They're done.
That's it. We lost to UAB.
Yep.
And they're right back in the thick of it.
That was a hell of a bounce back. Hell of a job.
This is an amazing bounce back.
Yeah. And you're right. But let me just finish this on.
Go ahead.
If the SEC has 4 and Notre Dame wins out, that's 5.
SEC has 4. Notre Dame, we got 1. Go ahead.
Group of 5 gets 1. I said the Big 12 would maybe get 2.
Oh, interesting. All right.
ACC, it's either ACC or Big 12. Let's say ACC has 1, Big 12 2, Big 10 3. That's 12 right there. So the ACC and the Big 12 are kind of going to be fighting each other potentially for that second team. The Big 10 thinks Michigan, you look at what Michigan beating Washington and Michigan State, you look at their schedule, they theoretically should be 9-2 at home against Ohio State.
Yep.
If they were to go 10-2, they're in. That would be 4 from the Big 10. Ohio State would still be in, sitting there at 11-1.
Yeah.
So that would put 4 in. So, I mean, there are ways to kind of look at this for each conference and each team. That's kind of what it's supposed to be at the end of October.
Yep.
But the committee will have their hands full if we assume 4 from the SEC. If Notre Dame wins out 5, group of 5, 6, Big 10 gets you 3 for now. That's 9. Big 12 or ACC gets 2. That's 11. And then Big 12 ACC gets 1. Whichever other one gets 2, the other one's going to get 1. And that would get you to 12. That's why I'm saying everything, the one thing they all have in common is you need Notre Dame to lose.
Yeah, which is interesting. Notre Dame starts a season 0-2. And then they jump back in this thing, find Jeremiah Love and Price, and just keep handing the ball. And CJ Carr's developed.
Think about those
They're
2 losses too, Joey.
Yeah,
I mean,
2 really good, if you can say good losses, A&M and Miami. And so this is why the math gets interesting. And honestly, November 4th on that Tuesday, we'll get our first look into how is the committee viewing the schedule, the records, the wins of all these teams. We have Ohio State number 1. I wouldn't have a complaint in the world if on November 4th the committee doesn't have them number 1.
Yeah, they could have Indiana or A&M at 1.
Their resume, not great. Penn State will be unranked. Texas is hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
If Texas loses this week to Vandy, Texas has a chance of not being ranked. And then you look at their schedule and say, well, there's no ranked wins. They look really good, but their resume and their schedule now all of a sudden has the potential to not look very good. They don't play Indiana. They don't play Oregon. Be interesting to see if the committee was to move them down. I wouldn't have an argument. I would understand it. I get it.
Yeah. I think you have to have that kind of approach to it. But to finish this thing on Notre Dame, they lose by 3 at Miami. They lose by a point to Marcel at home, in a game that Marcel's team fought back to win in that second half. Since then, you looked at their schedule. You're like, they're going to be favored in every game they play. They had a challenge against SC. They won it. And keep in mind, they got Boston College this week. They got Navy, who's not easy. At Pitt, not easy. Syracuse and Stanford. You know, if they can get through Navy and Pitt, you would think that's, if you're rooting against Notre Dame, those are probably your 2 best chances to come up November 8th and November 15th. I'm not rooting against Notre Dame. I'm saying if you're ACC, Big 12.
If you're counting the 12 and you're from the ACC, you're from the Big 12. Even if you're from the Big 10,
and
you're trying to get 4 teams in, you're rooting against Notre Dame. That looks really good.
How come you guys never talk about Iowa? How come nobody talks about Iowa? They lost by 3 early in a rivalry game at Iowa State. They lost by 5 at home against Indiana in a game when it looked like they could win. Their quarterback dealt with some injuries. I mean, I know it's not pretty. I know it's but bro, what if they went out? What if, they got Oregon coming up. You got USC, you got Michigan State, Nebraska. I mean,
I know it's not pretty.
It's far-fetched, huh?
You're like, I know it's not pretty.
Well,
but
they win with, I don't know. They're it's not, but they win.
Hey, listen. Every week in studio, me and Matthew Berry, EJ, man, he gets in occasionally. I don't know that we've bet anything more often than we've bet the Iowa over. As crazy as that sounds, it's always in the 30s, and it's just fun. I will say this season, Iowa offensively has handled their side of the equation. Usually it's like, gosh, can we just get Iowa? Can you get us a field goal out of this drive? We need it for the over. These last couple games, I mean, they've handled their business.
Yeah.
Minnesota didn't do much to help us to get to the over. We got there. But Iowa, and listen, they're going to have their opportunity to earn the respect
big time
that you're talking about. It's a interesting to watch, and
but you agree with Gronowski? They at least have a pulse on offense.
They do. They have a pulse on offense, and you're right. What you say? It ain't pretty. Is that what you said?
No, I mean they play old school field position. Special teams, defense, control the clock. That's kind of their MO, but it's been really effective under Kirk Ferentz. It's just they need that quarterback to get them over the hump, right? And he's, if he can stay healthy, another guy. Oregon, I mean, that's it, right? I mean, if you beat Oregon, everything that they feel like needs to come their way is going to come their way, right?
Absolutely right.
They'll get
Everything
more respect.
you're talking is right there.
They'll get more respect if they beat Oregon than they would. That's how it was for me with Indiana. Would they go to Eugene and win? Anything else they've done up to that point, I got more respect for them for those 60 minutes than anything else they've ever done. Same would be true for Iowa.
I agree wholeheartedly. And it's right there. Whoever asked that question, it's coming. We'll find out.
Who is your top 5? Same as last week?
Yeah, mine haven't changed at all. You know, it takes something for me to change mine anyhow. You know what I mean? Like, I don't react to like close games. If you get a win, you got to like have a couple close ones in a row before I'm like, oh, trouble. I'm right there. The same list of characters. I still have Ohio State number 1, which again, I think that a lot of people would kind of, you could argue whether they're number 1. I still have A&M in there. I still got Bama in there. I think Georgia rounds out my top 5. So I'm still, nothing changes with me.
Yeah, nothing changed for me either. I think those top 3 teams are very, very challenging to try to separate. You know, I think with Ohio State's resume, at first it looked like, hey, this is great. And then as the season has gone on, it's not as impressive, but they're playing every single week, pretty much the same team, you know, in dominant fashion. They've been great. So you could easily put them there at 1. Indiana, make a strong case for them. Texas A&M, as the season goes on, looks more and more impressive. I have Georgia Tech up at number 4 for me, and Bama at number 5. I really like that Georgia Tech team. We'll see bigger challenges ahead for them. Guys, let's pop a couple questions up before we got to roll here. If there are a lot of people that want to ask why we hate Ohio State, kind of your typical stuff there.
You just hate them.
Do you feel that as this season goes on and the coaching noise that it's out there, right, that we have to kind of deal with, do you think that can become eventually a distraction for these teams, and especially like a Lane Kiffin? How do you block that out and just try to do your job?
I think it's up to the coach. I think that Coach Sarkisian did a great job after this past game addressing the NFL talk that was reported about him. And I think every coach nowadays, as much as you'd like to be talking X and O's, talking next opponent, you have to address this stuff with your team and let them know, hey, I'm here. Let's focus on what we're focused on. Keep the first things first, and just keep going.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see if Lane's able to do that, because it's his name as we sit here on Monday. We're not even 24 hours removed from Brian Kelly being let go. And it's only going to get louder and louder. Here's a couple questions.
This is a good question.
Which job is more intriguing, LSU or Penn State?
That's a good question, sir.
Depends on your definition of intriguing.
Give us your like, if you are about
I would pick LSU over Penn State, only because there are a lot of people, in talking to the coaching fraternity, they look at LSU and Ohio State in the same way. You're the only team in that state. You control recruiting in that state. Same with LSU. You know, I mean, your SEC teams will come in there, but if you can control New Orleans and Baton Rouge and that entire Lafayette, all that area, you're going to get some great players. So that's one of the advantages I think you have in going to LSU. Not to mention the resources. Penn State, I mean, you're splitting hairs. Both those jobs, but the expectations are scary.
You've really changed.
The expectations. Why?
If we went back to the Herbie that I met back in the day, sign you up for Penn State. Sign you up for all white unis with the spat on the black cleats.
I love that.
We're running downhill with 2 running backs.
O.J. McDuffie, Keyshawn Carter.
Gosh, have you changed? Dude, it's amazing to see this transformation. Now you're down there in Nashville. You're singing country music. You know what I mean? It's like, The guy I met,
You're crazy.
huh? The guy I met when I showed up here that had the towel hanging out, had the spatted black shoes. His running option would absolutely be Big Ten through and through.
Still am.
Woody Hayes.
Still am.
Now you're down there like, I'll take LSU first. You've changed.
Well, I just think the recruiting base is tough to turn back on. When you first met Mike Elko, did you expect him to be the coach he is now? Absolutely. I met him as a coordinator
Yes.
at Notre Dame,
Yep.
all business. I think John Tenuta might have been in his life early in his career. Like he's talking about Joey old school.
Yeah.
He's a throwback, and he is going to demand there are consequences when you don't do it right. He doesn't care about the portal. You don't like it here. See ya. Like he's an old school guy, and I find him refreshing. I love him. Love the guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
We are unfortunately out of time. We should have started these questions a little bit earlier.
Come on. How'd you like my country music? Like
Joey, have a great week. Don't
It's been
start
fun.
too much trouble. You're probably just crushing EJ and Matt every single week. You getting them to argue off air about stuff?
I just sit back. Matt
you-
throws it out there. EJ's young. He hasn't been in studio very long. He jumps on every grenade that Matt rolls across the table.
You don't no, you're throwing all the grenades. And then you're just sitting there, oh shucks.
It's not my style anymore. I've matured.
You're right. Thank you guys for joining us. We had a lot of fun. That was a quick hour. I
Yeah,
wish
it's
we could
fun.
keep going, but we'll see how this week projects, what kind of results we have. We do this every single Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. We promise we're going to get to some NFL. It's just this college stuff takes up. There's just a lot going on. So we apologize. We weren't able to hit on the Colts and the Green Bay Pittsburgh game. There's a lot that went on. Even my Thursday night game was intriguing. So
I
we'll
tell you
promise
what.
next week
I tell you what.
we'll hit some
Go
NFL.
Flacco. I tell you what.
And that sums it up. That sums it up. That's why we didn't talk NFL today.
I tell
You
you what.
guys have
All
a
right,
good
guys.
week. Joe Flacco.